Action. All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how the first thing we need to know is how to put the splash pan on. You want the big side to go in front. If it goes on easy, you put it on wrong. You'll hear it. It doesn't work. Okay? So it's got to be pushed all the way against the tabletop. This part right here, all the way against the tabletop, and push it in until it doesn't feel like it's going to go anymore. You need to shimmy it back and forth to get it on. Then it'll slide up underneath there. This one will pop up underneath the other one. It'll pop in up underneath the other one, just like that. Okay, so this first switch here, this is obviously a Brent classic, I don't know, Model C. And it's got two toggles here. The front one, if you can see a toggle, the one that's closest to you is the on-off switch. If it's up, it's on. If it's down, it's off. When it's down, it won't spin. When it's up, it'll spin. Okay, and this works just like an accelerator. The more you push it down, the faster it goes. All right. The toggle that's furthest away from you, are any of you left-handed? Right-handed? Okay. All right. So if you're right-handed, you want to make sure that that front toggle, the one that's furthest away from you, is pushed in forward motion. Okay? If you're left-handed, you want it pulled back in reverse. So it should just be pushed forward, but I wouldn't guarantee it because I have left-handed throwers that will pull it back and just leave it there. So always check that. Because if you're sitting there wondering why you're struggling all day, it could be because you're thrown in the wrong direction. All right? Now, the biggest problem students have with this is that that front toggle has a neutral. If it's in the middle, it doesn't move. All right? So if it's stuck like that, I'll have students all the time, hey, my wheel's not working, my wheel's not working. It's just because they were in neutral. So there you go. That's the toggles. Now it should be ready to go on. This is the clay we're going to use. I'm going to show you the first real mistake students do when they get on the pottery wheel. The first one is this. They grab their clay. You want about, so they grab their clay like that. They come over here to their wheel and they put their bat on. That's this thing right here. I'm going to use the furthest ones out and they're going to go on those little toggles. Then they grab their clay that they just chunked off their thing and they throw it down on the wheel. Push it down good and hard. Okay. Then they get it wet. And then they do this for the next 30 minutes. Actually, they usually do this as fast as they can. And it just ends up getting pushed down. They can't get it to the middle. Now, a couple of things that they've done. One, they didn't prepare their clay before they got on the wheel. So, we gotta prepare our clay first. All right? The second thing is they just pushed it down and smashed it completely off center. And then they sit there and try to push it back to center. And then instead their arms just sit there and go like this the whole time. All right? So what we want to do with this clay is prepare it first. Take it off and prepare your clay. Now I'm going to grab a different piece of clay. This time, instead of chunking it off with my hands, I'm going to use a cut wire because it works better that way. I want a little bit more than that. I'll use this one right here. All right, so to prepare it, I'm going to put it on here. We can use the tables to do this, but I'm going to mash it down. Ooh, roll it back up, mash it down. What this is called is wedging, okay? Now really the biggest reason that you have to wedge, there's two reasons to wedge clay. One is to get rid of air pockets, which if you got it right from the bag, which you're going to be doing today, there's no air pockets. So why would we wedge that clay? We would wedge it because as clay sits in a bag, it gets stiff. It doesn't get hard, it just gets stiff. Kind of like when you're going on a long road trip and you stop at the gas station, you hop out and just start running around the truck as fast as you can. It doesn't feel like you can because your knees are stiff, your legs are stiff, you're stiff. You gotta walk a little bit, get used to it. So this wedging is like that walking. All right, so now it's getting used to moving. And once it gets used to moving, then it's ready to be pat into a ball. Instead of just grab chunks off, we're gonna use a ball. And then I'm gonna take my sponge, I'm gonna wring that out all the way. This will dampen the top of this and make it so this will stick really well if I slap it down. Now, so the first mistake students do is chunking off all their clay and then coming over here and smashing it down. The second mistake is that they come over here and they get it wet like that. They put their clay on there and then they wonder why it doesn't stick. It's not sticking, Mr. Atwood, it's not sticking. What do I do? It's not sticking to my wheel. It just spins, right? You need it to stick. It's got to spin in your hands, not what it's doing right now. So, if you get it too wet and it doesn't feel like it's sticking, you're going to grab your ball, you're going to put pressure down on it, and you're going to wiggle it back and forth until it starts to stick. You'll feel it start to grip. And what you're doing when you're wiggling it back and forth is you're pushing all that moisture out from underneath it so that it can seal to the wheel head. All right, so that's the second mistake people do. I don't know what the third one will be. Those are the two biggest ones when they start. They can't get it to stick. They put a glob on instead of a ball. The advantages of using a ball is that there's not a whole lot there. It's already partly centered. You know, I can put my hands on there and it's just, I have to move it that much to get it spinning in the middle. So that's a real advantage of using a ball of clay rather than a glob. To center this, you're gonna have to have the right posture. You're gonna want, especially the shorter people, will want to move their stool all the way up to the wheel so that they can get right above it. Okay? You want to take your left arm, put it right into your hip or your gut, and I'm going to be pressing forward with that like that. My right hand is going to be on the back side, making sure I don't shove it all the way off. And it's going to be kind of pulling back. So as I'm going to be pushing forward, I'm going to be pulling back, and that clay has no place to go but upward. So it comes up into what we call a cone. We cone that up. Then I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to put it on top. My left hand is going to brace it so it doesn't slide off. So they're touching each other. Then I'm going to push that down. All right, get it wet. Push it forward, pull it back. It should come up into a cone. Put it on top, that one right next, push it down. My arms are always braced on my body. They're never up here. That's probably the third mistake I see. I see a lot of students. I'm going to push this off a little bit so that you can see this in full bloom. They'll get it like that, and they'll sit clear back here like they're trying not to get dirty, and it just pushes their arms around like this, right? You have more strength in the weight of your body than you have in your arms, which is why the second way that I see them doing this, side to side, doesn't work either, because their arms are up here and it's pushing them back and forth. So put that right into your body. Slow that down just a little bit. Put that right in your body. Make that arm hold still. And as it holds still, the clay starts to go to center. All right. This several times. Really, you can do this all day. Centering clay is an important part of making a pot. Without a good foundation, you don't get a good structure. You want this structure to stand good and tall and right and true, you have to have the good foundation. So, a lot of students take about 2 weeks to get that. That's your first assignment, to center clay. After you center the clay, you should try to turn it into a pot. So we're going to take, again, you can do this several different ways. You can use our thumbs to put a hole into it. See people use their thumbs. You can use your fingers, but you always use both hands. I don't ever see anyone going down like this and succeeding very often. If they do, it's by mistake. Sometimes if on big pots, I use my fist, but I always use both hands. So I'm going to put, in my case, I like to use the thumb on my left hand and my fingers on my right, and I put them in there, and I just go down until I'm about 1/4 of an inch away from the bottom. You can test that with a needle tool. For you guys, I'll probably just come by and tell you if you're there or not, because I know I'm thick. Right about there. Now that the hole is made, I need it to be open, because this is going to be a mug. Our first project is a mug. So I'm going to drag that open. Again, you can use your thumbs. You put your thumbs in there like that, and you just drag them out slowly. You want to do it slowly. Or you can use your fingers and drag it out. I usually use my fingers. But again, both hands are involved. All right. You want to make sure the bottom is nice and flat before you move on to the wall. So you don't have to go back in and try to fix anything. Now I have a bottom on my pot that's open. It's ready for me to pull up the wall. To do that, I'm going to take my left hand, put it on the inside. My right hand is going to go on the outside. They're going to be opposite each other like this. I'm going to push in slightly with my right hand, and I'm going to lift it up. And you might have seen me slow the wheel down. Usually when you are centering and opening, your wheel is spinning that's the fastest your wheel will spin. And I have never yet thrown with the wheel pedal all the way down. I usually am somewhere in the middle. So you have to kind of judge that for yourself. I'm going to do one pull. I'm going to push in again. I'm going to do another pull. Keep it wet, it's got to stay slimy in your hands. I'm going to do a third pull. Really, this one's done. But I'm going to do one more just to guarantee it's nice and light down here. You'll see in a second what I'm talking about. That should be it. There's a cylinder. And why do we start with the cylinder? Because this can be shaped into many things. I can put my hand in there. If I put my hand in there and I just kind of start opening it up, it starts to bulge a little bit. See that? I'm not going to bulge it too much because I want to do something else to it. I'm going to get this moisture out of the middle. And our objective is to make a nice even wall, okay? It can be 1/4 of an inch thick or a little thinner for a mug. This is probably thinner because I just have a tendency to go really thin. To prove it, you guys won't do this to yours. We do an autopsy. Got to check out its guts. What did we do? What happened to it? What worked well? In this case, there's the wall. Pretty even all the way up. So that would have been a good mug. But now it's going to have to join this goo clay that I made earlier.